Not every silence begins with loss. Some begins with too much. Too much comfort, too much ease, too much ways to forget the stars. When pleasure becomes infinite, curiosity fades into luxury. And when every desire isn't met, who remembers to dream? Welcome back, traveler. My name is Aytaç Ertekin, and this is SITU, Silence in the Universe. Together we listen to the silence and search for the stories it hides. In our previous journeys, we walked through a crystal cave with Sadhana and explored xenobiology. Then, with Evren, we stood beside a dry Anatolian fountain and saw how fragile and improbable our own world is. But what if some civilizations do emerge in those rare, perfect conditions and never go further? Not because they can't, but because they no longer want to, and because they lose their purpose. This is the Carnival effect, a subtle, quiet phase of hay effect. A civilization that masters its environment may not fall to war or disaster. Instead, it might simply forget to dream, to explore, to transcend. Like a carnival that never closes, offering endless pleasure and distractions until the stars become irrelevant and the silence grows deeper. Inari was cleaning. There was no need. The house was immaculate. But still he moved the cloth again and again. A ritual, a meditation, a substitute for something lost. He paused for a shelf cluttered with old gadgets, souvenirs, and forgotten wants, trinkets collected through years of small hopes, each one promising joy, each now lifeless. The thrill of the new had always faded. The ache of emptiness returned always. These things brightened moments, but dimmed the years. Inari looked at them, smart devices, kitchen tools, exercise gear, all relics of intention, things he had never truly used. Even an unopened old package of a telescope. Never needed, never loved, never used. When he looked back, there were so many things, but nothing that made his life feel like it had led to anything. No milestones, no stories, just comfort. And comfort, he realized, had slowly buried purpose. Outside his window, the city stretched wide. Thousands of homes, millions of rituals. Each person dancing the same dance of acquisition and forgetting. He remembered his grandfather, a man of scarcity, who mended, who treasured, who once pointed at a faded photo of a lunar base and said, "We used to go to stars and push the boundaries." That was before the comfort revolution, before desire replaced direction. Inari lifted a small model rocket from the shelf. Its paint, once vibrant, was now dull. A toy from a time when space still stirred dreams. When had humanity stopped building telescopes, stopped asking questions, stopped wondering? There was no single moment, just a quiet surrender. The stars hadn't vanished. We had simply stopped looking up. Look around. Today, in traditional media and across endless scrolls of social platforms, we are surrounded by promotion. We are surrounded by performance. Screens glow, voices sell, faces smile, telling us what to want, what to buy, what to chase next. Not what we need, but what will complete us. Yet, most of it is the same. Another shape, another lens, another shade of silver. Slight improvements masked as revolutions. The Peer Phone 11 is here! The best Peer phone ever! until the peer phone 12 arrives, same fruit, shinier skin, and we line up again. Not for necessity, but for anticipation, desire, release, satisfaction, emptiness. The old device still works. The new one changes nothing. But the illusion of change is addictive. We have built a stage where products pose as milestones, where applause follows every slight iteration, and meaning quietly exists through the back door. This isn't new. Status through possessions has long been part of humanity, but never this fast, never this hollow, never this global. Anthropologists and historians of collapse often speak of this. Civilizations, upon reaching material peak, shift from innovation to indulgence, from vision to distraction. Rome built aqueducts, roads, architectural marvels, then Colosseums, circuses. The fulfillment of immediate desires rather than long-term visions. The pattern repeats. We once dreamed of Mars, of generation ships crawling between stars, of messages sent deep into the stars, of listening for life. Now, our brightest minds design algorithms to sell ads. Networks that could simulate supernova instead track clicks. Not to understand us, but to predict us, to guide our gaze toward what we can be sold, to whisper what we didn't know we had. In that whisper, purpose dissolves. A planetary carnival, lights, noise, diversion. But carnivals were never meant to last forever. The algorithm knows our hunger, but not our wonder. Inari stood in silence, surrounded by objects that meant nothing, fragments of forgotten dreams. Time, so much of it spent not living, but unboxing, updating, discarding. Money, poured into objects that never loved him back. Attention, given to noise, stolen from meaning. If he had chosen differently, a simpler path, fewer things, more stillness, he might have built something stronger, a purpose, a life with her. He thought of her. They once spoke of weekends under real stars, of rebuilding an observatory, of wonder. He remembers her words. Need, perhaps, but what about what we dream? He had not chosen cruelty, or neglect, or anger, just comfort, and it was enough to lose her. Now only boxes remain and silence. He wondered if she had found that hilltop, if she still looked upward, if she still dreamed, or had the carnival claimed her too. There was no way to know. The bridges were gone, but something stirred on him. Not nostalgia, something sharper, a realization. He had not just lost her. He had lost the capacity to dream, and maybe so had we all. What we lost wasn't just her, it was the direction our eyes once faced. Seen from the stars, what would we look like? A species that once reached outwards, sent probes, built telescopes, whispered into the void, then turned inward, found pleasure, engineered satisfaction, perfected comfort, and stopped moving. Why suffer to go beyond when everything desired is already here? Why reach when reality itself can be bent to please us? This may be the real great filter. Not fire, not war, but carnival. Not extinction, but seduction. If most civilizations turn inward after mastery, the stars would be silent not from emptiness, but from abundance. Athens, Florence, London, each had their moment, each turned inward. But what if the entire earth turns at once? Then the silence becomes deeper, perhaps permanent. The great filter may not be catastrophe. It may be the hum of endless satisfaction. It is not that no one survived. It is that no one needs to leave. The silence we hear may not be absence, but abundance. A species rises, yields, thrives, then forgets. Because the carnival never ends. Because the lights are always on. Because desire is endless and purpose is finite. The carnival effect is not a fire. It's a lullaby. A song that rocks us to sleep while everything still works. And maybe that's the most dangerous silence of all. But there is hope. In naming the carnival, we remember what it drowned out. Curiosity, wonder, questions that mattered. These voices still whisper beneath the noise. We once looked up. We once believed. We once reached. Perhaps we still can. In our next episode, we return the stars to ask if life exists, would we even recognize it? In next episode, we will look at an alien languages and communication. This is Aytaç Ertekin, this is SITU, and together we search for the silence in the universe.